This problem, we want to use the quotient rule to find the derivative. So we've got f of x is equal to 5x squared minus 1 over 8x plus 2. Now, quotient rule says you got something divided by something else, which is obviously what we have here. So the top part will be p, the bottom part will be q. We got a formula for this. It says p prime q minus p q prime over q squared. We have the p and q, we just need p prime and q prime. So p prime, well, 5x squared minus 1, the 5 just stays out in front. Take your power, put it out in front, lower it by 1. The minus 1, the derivative of that is 0, so that gives us 10x. Now for q prime, the derivative of 8x plus 2 is 8. Okay, so for our derivative, p prime we said was 10x, so I'll put that in there, times q, which is 8x plus 2, minus p, which was 5x squared minus 1, times q prime, which is 8. Let me double check what I just did there. P prime times q minus p times q prime over q squared. So we got 8x plus 2 squared. Okay. First thing I notice with this is I can factor a 2 out of the parentheses right here. So that would give me 10x times 2 times 4x plus 1, factoring out GCF, minus, and I'll put this 8 out in front, 8 times 5x squared minus 1. And as bizarre as it seems, down here, see, these have a 2 in common. So I can factor that out. And that gives us 4x plus 1 squared. Now up on top, that gives us 20x times 4x plus 1 minus 8 times 5x squared minus 1. Now down below, if everything inside your parentheses is multiplication and division, you're raising it to a power, you can take everything to that power. Now notice we have 2 times the 4x plus 1 inside of parentheses. So I can take the 2 to the second power, and I take the 4x plus 1 to the second power. Well, that gives us 2 squared and 4x plus 1 squared. Now looking at the top part here, we have our first group right here, and we have our second group. Why do we consider those groups? Well, this is 20 times x times a set of parentheses. This is 8 times a set of parentheses. Everything inside each group is multiplied together. And then there's a minus here. That's what separates the groups. Well, if I look at the first group and the second group, 20 and 8 both have a 4 in common, so I can factor a 4 out. And 20 divided by 4 is 5, x, and then everything else carries down, 4x plus 1, minus 8 divided by 4 is 2, and then everything else carries down. Okay, now down below here, 2 squared is 4, times 4x plus 1 squared. Now, notice something here. We have 4 times all of this brackets. That's multiplication, 4 times the brackets. Down here we have 4 times this. So since both of those are multiplication, these 4's will now cancel. So back up on top, there's nothing else I can factor out. So the only thing we can do is get rid of parentheses, combine together like terms, and see where it goes to from there. 5x times 4x gives us 20x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. Negative 2 times 5x squared gives us negative 10x squared. And negative 2 times negative 1 gives us a positive 2. All over 4x plus 1 squared. Now I don't try to simplify the bottom part at all, because 4x plus 1 squared is actually simplified. Because 4x plus 1 squared means 4x plus 1 times 4x plus 1, multiplication. And if we can get everything multiplied together, then we're happy. Up on top, combine together like terms. 20x squared minus 10x squared gives me 10x squared plus 5x plus 2 all over 4x plus 1 squared. And that would be your answer.